We're live from Chevy Chase.
Well, welcome back. It is time for our morning chat, and today we're giving you organizing tips for back to school. Professional organizer and friend of the show, Tara Stewart, is back to help get us organized as we all head back to school. Tara, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in.
Good morning. How are you all?
Great. So kids go back to school Wednesday.
Yes.
And you have some excellent tips for us today. Let's start with how to handle all of the onslaught of stuff that's going to be coming through that door starting on Wednesday.
All the papers.
Yes.
Yeah. So I tell my clients to kind of a drop zone where everything's going to land when it comes home, especially for your smaller kids. They're used to putting their stuff away in a cubby at school, so they can get used to having kind of a drop zone that their papers go into. Now, my only caveat with that is the papers you have to fill out immediately, pull those from their binder, fill them out immediately and get them back. But the other papers, like you can see here what we did for one of our clients, where we've got the back stocks of arts and crafts in case you need extra school supplies this coming week that you might have forgotten about.
Smart.
And then each child, now obviously they don't have a yellow face in real life or covering up their face, but each child has a little bin, just like at school, where they can put their papers in. Now the trick is these will fill up real quickly if we don't go ahead and tackle what I refer to as the drop zone of papers.
Right.
So what I want to encourage people to do, and again, here's an example of kind of where you could keep some of the back stock of school supplies so that going forward you can easily find them instead of running out to Target right away, because I know we have some of those.
Yes.
But what I want parents to do with the papers that come home is set some time aside that they could go through them. And so instead of them fill up and fill up and fill up, and it might be just the Sunday night as you're doing a reset, but I want you to get in the habit of using your phone to organize some of these papers.
Using your phone? How
Using
do you
your
do that?
phone. Okay, so for example, you're going to get papers that have the band schedule of when concerts are. I know you said you were in band.
Yes.
You've got the sports schedule where it's these are the meets, these are the games. I want those papers to become digital. So what I want you to do is pull out your phone, and I want you to have a family shared digital calendar. Now your partner's definitely in on this, but if you've got older kids, middle school and high school kids, they also have access to the shared calendar, and the dates from those papers immediately go into the calendar.
Smart.
Now, if you've got smaller humans at home, you can do a big paper calendar still, maybe a year at a glance. It's on the wall somewhere that they can see, because you want your kids to start taking responsibility and be in the habit of when school picture day is and what have you. So for the dates, they immediately go into your phone. That way, if you're out and about and someone wants to have lunch, you can be like, oh, well, wait, I've got this going on. Because if you tape it to your fridge, your refrigerator isn't with you, but your phone, you always have your phone.
That's true.
Same thing with the papers that come home that might say, these are the rules to have lunch with your child, or here's the class list. I want those to be pictures on your phone, but I want to take it a step further. Instead of you just taking a picture of it, I want you to have a digital album. Now, I have an iPhone, so I'm just speaking for iPhone users, but I know within Photos, you can create an album just for certain photos. I want this album to say school year 24-25.
Okay.
I want you to take a picture of that school class list and save it in that album. And again, if you've got older kids or specifically for your partner, add them to that shared album. That way they have access to the information at their fingertips at any time.
So they're not always texting mom going, when is
it?
Yeah.
You're looking at the shared calendar, you're looking at the shared photo album, and then those papers immediately get put into the recycle bin.
And listen, we give kids phones when they're 2 years old now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this makes total sense.
But your
This
middle
makes total
school
sense.
and your high school kids, you're teaching them how to adult anyways.
Right. That's true.
And you don't want to send them out in the workforce or off to college.
It's not just about social media.
It's not. No, you want them to be responsible for their own schedule, and that's a good way to do that.
Now, what about, so you're going through the papers and you're going through the stuff, and kids come home with artwork and pottery and all this stuff.
Right.
How do you know what to keep, and what do you do with it?
Okay, I love this question. I've got two really good tips on that. So when you're going through the keepsakes, right, and especially when you have small humans, the moms stay out, the preschool, elementary kids, the papers of all the little arts and crafts. Now, one tip for now that I've got older kids, I would go back through those that I kept, and I have no idea what the stick face is with the legs, and so I just toss it now. But when your little human comes home and they give you this great story, it's a bear with a unicorn and we had lunch together, and you think, this is the sweetest. And so you keep it. Well, 10 years from now, you will have no idea why you kept that. When they come home and they're telling you the story, since they can't write themselves, write the story down, put it with that piece of paper.
That's sweet.
So when you put it in the keepsake bin, now the memory is even sweeter. And so when you look back through those, you're like, oh, that's right. This was a picture of XYZ. Now, the second tip for that keepsake bin, you've kept all those papers, go through those keepsake bins at the end of elementary, at the end of middle, and at the end of high school with your child. because if you were keeping those for them, as we all say we are, they might not want a lot of it.
Yeah.
So instead of you keeping hordes and hordes and hordes of papers that are keepsakes, take the time in those transitions to go through it with them and say, hey, we have this stuff from when you were in Mom's Day Out. They're gonna be like, I don't want all this.
Right.
So you might be able to reduce those down to like 10 or 20% of what you actually kept, and it's much easier to make those harder decisions when they're like my oldest, who's 17, versus when they were 4.
Right.
So go through it frequently, right? And it doesn't have to be every single year, just at those transition periods, and narrow it down. And if it's something that they didn't want but you want, then you keep it.
Yeah.
But if it's something in their keepsake bin that you were going to keep for them, let them make the decision and guide you on what is really important to them.
Okay.
Okay, I have one last question.
Yeah.
How do I get my husband to organize the garage?
Yeah. Call me. That's you hire me and then we help.
Yeah, because that would take the work of a professional.
Yes, we got you.
Absolutely.
That's right. Well, thank you so much.
My
This is
pleasure.
very exciting, very motivational. So we're all going to go out and get a keepsake bin.
Yeah, and it
we'll
doesn't
be
have to
ready.
be complicated. Just a little accordion folder.
Just a little time.
We don't need to keep it all.
That's right. All right. If you need more tips, organizational tips, check out Tara Stewart. All of her information is up on the screen.